So I leave the floor to Rahul, who is an entrepreneur, and we also have Nikhil Kulkarni.
Okay, when people think of crypto, they think of cryptocurrencies. And that's not what we are talking about. People think of Bitcoin. I know it's very confusing for a lot of people. But what we are essentially talking about is blockchain technology. Now, I know we are all travelers. We all like traveling the world. Who the hell wants to worry about blockchain technology and what happens, under the hood, if I may say so? When you book a ticket, you care about booking a ticket. When you book a cab, you care about booking a cab. So, Nikhil, as of today, I can book my ticket on, let's say, make my trip in a couple of minutes. I can book a cab on Uber in 30 seconds. And what problem is Web3 and blockchain? What exactly is it solving? And let's just strip away all that jargon. Let's have some fun. And tell me, how is this helping and why should an audience like this care?
Yeah, I think even before we go into booking and tickets and all that, right? The most basic thing to think about, every time you travel out of the country, the biggest hassle that probably you need to do is to get your Forex. Imagine if that hassle is taken away. I think at a very basic level, keeping my product aside, that's something that crypto definitely solves for you. It's going to be a global currency, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it is some other currency, it's going to be global, right? That's one thing. Now just extend that concept to everything else that comes in the way. So yes, you can today go and book a hotel online in London, but then you pay for that using Indian rupees, and then you get some Forex charges and blah, blah, blah. And then you land up in the local country and then they levy some local taxes on you and you have to carry some Forex. So a lot of that complexity can be taken away if you move to crypto. That's crypto only, right? Now there's the larger world, blockchain, which enables crypto. Now that's where we can get even deeper. So just to think about it, today when you book a hotel room,
Or an airline ticket.
What happens if you end up realizing that you can't travel? You fell sick, for example. What do? You only have an option of canceling it, either letting that whole booking lapse or canceling and maybe recovering 80% of it or 70% of it, whatever you get, right? What if you as an end user could put it up for sale for somebody else to buy, and that somebody else could buy and travel on your ticket? And it's not something that doesn't happen. It even today happens. It's only that today only travel agents can do it. Only they can do open ticketing. We can't.
Right. So you're basically saying that if I'm going to London and I have a non-refundable ticket, I have let that ticket go if I can't make it, right?
Yeah.
Or if it's a refundable ticket, let's say it's economy class because I can only afford economy. It's a 80,000 rupee ticket, yeah? And I maybe spend 10, 15,000, 20,000 rupees on that cancellation. So what you're saying is instead of cancelling, I should be able to resell that ticket to you, to Nikhil, right?
Absolutely.
Now, when I have a problem with that because when a ticket is done on, there's a PNR and is done on my name, on Rahul's name. So how can I sell Rahul's ticket to Nikhil or to anyone else?
Yeah, so that's what we do. That's what our protocol enables. So what we do is we work directly with the inventory providers. It could be the airlines. We don't have an airline yet, but we do definitely have hotels, right?
There are companies who are doing airlines as well.
Airlines as well,
yes.
yeah. There's TravelX based in South America, which is doing airlines as well, right? So we work directly with the supplier and we have integration with their system. So when you buy a ticket from them or when you book a hotel room from them, that inventory, that data is stored on the blockchain by us. Now when you sell it, that sale is also recorded on the blockchain. So the best part about the blockchain is think of it like a global database that anybody could read, but only the owner of that information could write into. So if you own the ticket, only you can list it up for sale. But everybody else in the world knows that yes, you listed it for sale, and let's say you bought it for $100, you listed it for 110 or 120, right? Anybody in the world could buy that same booking for $120. You would get probably 115 out of it because $5 I'm going to give the hotel back. They deserve a commission for enabling that kind of a thing. So that's what we do. We work directly with the providers and we build that bridge between their systems and the blockchain. And then the entire inventory is on the blockchain.
Okay, let's flip it, right? So you're talking from a consumer point of view. Now let's say I large hotels or any property. I've got 100 rooms ka property here. Now, if you have made a non-refundable booking with me and you don't show up, I am making money. So why would I enable this from a hotel perspective to let you cancel it and resell it? Because If it's a no-show, I've made my 100% money, boss.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what the hotel loses many times. Let's say it was a no-show and there was nobody else to buy that booking, which means they lost that customer. And remember that hotels make close to 40% of their revenues from the ancillary revenue. The money that you would spend on the restaurant, the money that you would spend within the hotel, that money is not going to accrue to them. So for them, it is definitely a benefit to be able to maximize the chances of having someone stay in that room than let that room lie idle, even though it was fully paid for. Because the room was fully paid for, but the accessory revenue was lost. That's one part of it. The second part of it is largely, if you see today, even now, most hotels sell anywhere between 40 and 70% of their inventory through intermediaries like travel agents and OTAs.
Or let's say like a booking.com
Like a booking.com,
or agoda.com,
yes,
right?
yes,
So if
yes.
it's a 100-room hotel, you're saying 40 to 70% is sold through OTAs, which
OTAs,
is
yes.
online travel agents, which are your booking.com and so on and so forth, right?
Yes.
And then maybe only out of the 100 rooms, maybe 10 are sold directly, yeah, perhaps, and the rest 90 are sold through other intermediaries.
Yes. So now what happens when they sell through an intermediary is that often the hotel themselves is not in control of that inventory. Now, if let's say, so don't always assume that when a hotel is, you are buying the hotel from booking.com, booking.com is directly buying it from the hotel. In between, there could be 3 or 4 layers of intermediaries. And these intermediaries could anyways be engaging in reselling. They may anyways be reselling. What we just spoke about at the consumer level, that anyways happens today. Now, what happens in this case is that the hotel on that resale makes nothing. So if the hotel, if you actually bought it on booking.com for $100, the hotel probably sold it for maybe $60 or $65. So that difference, the hotel does not make anything anyways, right? So when we bring in our reselling technology, the benefit that we bring in is that every resale is tracked on the blockchain. And the hotel knows that there are so many resales that have happened. So if there have been 3 hops, the hotel knows there have been 3 hops. It knows at what price point that hop happened. And we're going to give them 5% on every hop. So the amount of net revenue that they make in such a case is much higher than what they otherwise would make in a normal business operation.
Are any hotels actually on board with this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
or is it still early days? I know we are talking about emerging technologies and what can
Yes.
happen in the near future. And the future is faster than we think with AI, robotics, blockchain, crypto. All these technologies are coming together in the next 5 or 7 years. You see with ChatGPT as well, right? I mean, suddenly everyone's talking about, for the last couple of years. So the future is faster than we think. All these things are going to come in together. But I want to know if any hotels are currently on board. And if yes, can you name a few hotels?
So there are several. We currently are. It is still early days. I should acknowledge that it is still early days. We have been in discussions with a lot of hotel chains, but what we are doing is we are working with intermediaries who are engaged with these hotels. So in certain geographies like Dubai, which are friendlier towards these concepts, we have big brands. We have big brands like the Hyatts of the world, the Hiltons of the world, whose inventory is on our system available for reselling. There are local regulations that the hotels also have to think about. There is KYC and all those things, because if you resell, then the hotel has to think about how they are going to do the KYC of the person who walks in. So there are all these aspects that they have to think about before they can make a global play at it.
So we have half an hour, so we're just going to touch upon 2 or 3 aspects where this emerging technology can impact travel and change the way you travel. So this was one, reselling hotels and airline tickets, right? Now the next one is loyalty points, right? Now, typically, I have never been able to figure out my loyalty points. I don't know how many points kabhi aaya, kabhi gaya, kabhi expire hua. I have no idea, boss. Now, there's another concept, with loyalty points and with culture as well. Now, typically, when people go abroad, a lot of them like to bring back a souvenir back with them, right? So, for example, if I'm going to London, I'll bring back maybe one shot glass with a big band, or, this is all I Love New York t-shirt, or fridge magnets. A lot of people like fridge magnets. I'm just generally speaking. Now, those are just souvenirs. Now, what if there could be a digital version of that and you could do something with it? So there's something known as Proof of Attendance Protocol, POAP or POAP. Yeah. What exactly is that, and how does that sort of incentivize, the whole loyalty program?
So I would say take a step back and also think of why is this experience a lot of times broken for us, right? So when we go out somewhere and when we book a hotel room, imagine you booked a hotel room on makemytrip.com and then you went on, let's say you were doing a trip to Europe and you were going to cover 3 countries. And what you're trying to do probably is find the cheapest deal out there, which most of us do, right? So when you went to Prague, you booked it via booking.com. But when you went to, let's say, Budapest, you found that Expedia was cheaper. So you went and booked on Expedia. And then you booked your hotel, your flights using Make My Trip. Now, all these three are three different silos. Thankfully, today we are in a world where I probably logged in using my same Gmail ID to all three websites.
This is an identity management system.
So the big problem of a broken sort of a trip is that I am booking on various places and I don't have a common view. Now that comes into the way of this POAP, right? When I have a fridge magnet, if you try to transpose yourself in the physical space, when you go and buy that fridge magnet and you come back home and you put it on your fridge, you can see your entire trip right there. That doesn't happen digitally. So on Instagram, I can put out photos of all those places, but then there's no proof that I actually went there. I mean, I might have just copied those photos off the internet and put there. Now, instead, in the blockchain world, there's this concept of wallets. We'll not go technical here, but the larger concept is that you will have a common global identity wherever you go. So now whether you log into a booking.com, whether you log into an Expedia, you're going to use the same wallet, the same identity.
So you're right. I mean, a lot of people here as well, they may have used one email ID for a booking.com and another email ID for, let's say, Make My Trip. And maybe for Uber, when you book your cabs, there's another phone number. So, those are all silos. And what you're talking about is one common link where you log in. And when you say wallet, it's, for example, like your Paytm wallet, right? So now everybody knows Paytm and all of that, right? Now, the beauty of blockchain is when you don't know you're using blockchain. When I send a WhatsApp photo to you or a video to you, you don't care about the underlying tech. You care कि Rahul ने मुझे photo भेजा, inappropriate photo नहीं भेजा, बल्कि सही photo भेजा, right? That's what you care about. You don't care about the underlying tech. So similarly, when the beauty of blockchain is when people don't know they're using the technology and a wallet is created for you, which you can log in through your Gmail ID, and it's a common wallet across all these, which links all these silos in the travel ecosystem.
So now the best part here will be that not only will your bookings be in that same wallet, but even when you, let's say, go to the airport and do an actual check-in, even that will get linked to your wallet. Let's say you go to Paris, and I'm just imagining the world that it will exist, right? You would probably have a QR code there, and when you go and scan that QR code, your proof of attendance of being at the Eiffel Tower is going to be coming into your wallet. And that can now be displayed onto your Instagram account, and your Instagram account has a genuine record of exactly where you went, how you went, along with obviously the photographs, the timestamp and everything else that we see.
That may put a lot of influencers out of business, yeah, because other time to ऐसे ही photo डालते रहते हैं. No, but on a more serious note, this can also be used, for example, by a tourism board, right, to incentivize certain attractions, right?
Yes.
So, for example, a POAP is nothing just but a QR code which you will scan and you will get it into your wallet. Now, typically how an Instagram is a flex for a lot of influencers, okay, I'm here, I'm there. This becomes a digital flex. Even your shot glasses and your fridge magnets, in a way, are a social flex when you have friends over that, look, I've got shot glasses from 50 different countries and these are the countries. This becomes a social flex for the new age traveler, the Gen Z traveler, because it's on their wallet. And how the Instagram generation feels that their online lives matter more than they want to look good on Instagram, whether they look the same in personal life or not. Similarly, you want to make sure your social flex, which is your digital wallet, is filled with these cool-looking timestamps that have been to XYZ destinations and XYZ locations. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and imagine if the tourism board really wanted to promote, let's say, a destination. Now, let's say
they wanted to gamify something.
Yeah, so the Indian government wanted to incentivize a visit to the Statue of Unity, right? Now,
let's make it local. We're in Bombay.
Yeah.
Now, the tourism board says that, you have to attend. We want you to visit 5 places in Mumbai, right? You visit the Gateway of India. You visit, there are not too many places in Mumbai, but some fancy restaurant, Bastion. And you visit the Gypsy Travel
Festival, right?
Yeah.
Now,
so
the tourism...
If you attend the Gypsy Travel Festival, and if you've attended these 5, you've gamified it, you've collected the POAP from every place, which is basically a cool-looking digital stamp. And once you have that in your wallet, they can incentivize you. Let's say Maharashtra Tourism can incentivize you to maybe, like a free meal at the Taj or an overnight stay at a nice hotel.
Or maybe 10% discount at the duty-free shopping at the Mumbai airport. I mean, that's a good enough incentive for so many of the foreign travelers that come into
so if you've attended all these 5, so they're gamifying you.
Yes.
where they're basically saying that you attend these 5 places. It's like a treasure hunt sort of thing of sorts, and you scan it, and it's sitting in on the blockchain in your wallet, and that becomes like a sort of like
There are many other ways in which it can be done. Now imagine we have the Kala Ghoda festival in Mumbai, and typically it's not just the precinct; it's the entire region, and there are many small events taking place. Now each one of these could incentivize saying, if you come and collect a POAP from my location, the restaurant next to me is going to give you a 10% discount on the lunch
and
or
this
a
can't
dinner.
be counterfeited.
Can't be counterfeited. There's no way you can get that POAP without actually physically being there and scanning it using the very wallet that you own and only you control. Because you're not going to cede that access to that wallet because it contains all the other things of your identity as well.
Well, I can't take a screenshot and send that to you.
Yeah, can't be done. That's where blockchain comes into picture. That when you go and scan it, blockchain validates your identity, and the fact that you visited this place is recorded globally on the blockchain. So anybody in the world could go and read that transaction and conclude that yes, you were indeed there. There's no way to fake it.
This is also a great idea for, let's say, concerts, right? We all like to attend concerts. Our fantastic infrastructure sometimes notwithstanding, but we attend Coldplay, we attend Diljit. Now, imagine if you had a POAP to attend a Diljit concert, right? Now, this is an opportunity for Diljit Dosanjh to directly engage with you if you hold a POAP, or depending on a certain level. It's like today you buy a ticket and you'll throw that ticket away after a while, right? But that ticket could be valuable. In the olden days, we all used to collect, let's say, album covers. And we had T-shirts with, like, at least I did, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and all of them, Madonna. Now, with streaming music, all that is gone. So that cultural aspect of music in that sense is lost because now you can stream any song in, like, half a second. So that whole buying album covers and, storing album covers and having those T-shirts and all era has faded away. Now, this gives it a chance to revive that, where I can have a Diljit or Metallica POAP, and the team at Metallica can engage with me that if I have a higher level NFT or a POAP, maybe I get access backstage, or maybe I get some other benefits as well in the future for some merchandise.
Yeah, or you could, think of those days when you used to walk into a Hard Rock Cafe because you were a rock fan, right? So you could have these places that can actually aid that cultural thing to come and incentivize you for being a fan. And you being a fan is validated because you actually attended the concert and you have the POAP for attending the concert. So there are so many more things. So think of hotels, for example, right? When I go and visit a hotel today, there's no very valid proof that I actually stayed there. Except for the hotel chain, nobody knows. But imagine there was the concept of POAP, or for example, the way we do it, when you actually book a hotel room
like
using
proof of stay.
Proof of stay. So when
That's
you
another
actually
thing I was going to get into.
So when you book a hotel room using our portals, there is an NFT of that booking that sits in your wallet. Now
what exactly is an NFT?
Yeah, so think of an NFT as digital representation of any form of art or any card. It's very simply a unique piece, again, probably a fridge magnet, but a unique piece, a label, that you would get, that only you would own, and it would sit only in your wallet. So every NFT will be unique in itself, right? So if you visited, let's say, the Taj in Mumbai on the 13th and the 14th, you will have a unique NFT for that particular night of booking. And now using that particular NFT, Taj could issue you so many more benefits. So same thing, you could get a discount at Starbucks, something as simple as that. Or you could get an invite-only dinner to some celebrity dinner that's been hosted at the Taj. Both of these things could be done. So anybody who held, let's say, more than 20 NFTs of Taj bookings would be eligible to go and attend that particular celebrity dinner. So those kind of features could be enabled, and that is what will start building that rarity and that culture.
You spoke about proof of stay. Now we've spoken about reselling hotels and tickets. We have spoken about POAPs and loyalty points and gamifying where you go and collecting these cool digital stamps, which are also a cultural phenomenon.
Yes.
So we've spoken about these two things. You mentioned proof of stay, which means actual proof that you've stayed at the hotel. And it's very interesting because on TripAdvisor, there's a stat, and this is a 2022 stat, so maybe they've mitigated some of this problem. 4% of all the reviews are fake, right? And this makes sense because last month I was in the Maldives and they requested me to put up a review. And I went on TripAdvisor, logged in with my Gmail account, and posted a review. Now, you could have posted that review, you could have posted that review without even going to that hotel. So how do we authenticate? So that, what happens in this case is there are a lot of bad actors. Now, if there's like, let's say the Qatar World Cup happening, or let's say Paris Olympics, and one hotel wants to basically put the other hotel down, so they can just have an army of these bots which are putting up these fake reviews against the other hotel, right? So this also happens in the industry. Unfortunately, it's not correct, but this happens. So if your review is linked to the actual proof NFT that you've stayed at the hotel, then that is authenticated. Yes. So only then should you be allowed to post that you've stayed here for these and these nights, and this is your proof that you stayed at this night. Otherwise, anyone can just go and post anything. So reputation management is another beneficiary of blockchain technology.
Yes, and you can go as granular as possible. Like, you just stayed at the hotel, but you did not have any food at the restaurant. So you cannot post a review for the restaurant. The moment on that NFT you have an attachment saying, yes, there was a restaurant bill also attached with this booking, now you're eligible to post a review of the restaurant. So you can go as granular as possible, and you can make it extremely well defined. We have been wanting to for a long time, which is attribute-based pricing. So it's not just attribute-based pricing, but attribute-based identity management, attribute-based reviews, attribute-based
simple words is just clearing up a broken system,
yes,
which the average retail traveler, you and me, will not really care about so much. But generally, if you look under the hood, these things really matter from a business perspective, right? You care about owning your identity. You care about making sure that if I'm a hotel, if I'm running a property, I care about that the right person who stayed there has written a review. You care about your identity being linked, so it's not a pain for you to maybe book an Uber separately and book this separately. So all that can be done together.
Exactly, and think about it.
And reselling your hotel bookings on a common platform, so like an eBay of sorts. Like an eBay for hotel bookings or airline tickets?
eBay, but the best part about using the blockchain is that you're not tied to one eBay or one particular website. You can do it anywhere. So you could have bought this hotel room on booking.com. The moment you put it up for sale, somebody else who's sitting on expedia.com or Make My Trip can also buy it. So the best part about blockchain is that you're not tied to a particular portal. Yes, everybody has their own preferences. Of course, Make My Trip has probably the best kind of inventory when it comes to India. And booking.com probably is very good when it comes to Europe, and Expedia is much better when it comes to US. So you'll definitely have your own preferences, but the best part is it doesn't tie you down to any one of these portals, and the reselling can happen everywhere across the world. One portal can access inventory of another portal and vice versa.
Okay, so as a retail guy, I'm just interested in saving my money and not losing my money if I have to cancel. That's basically what I care about. And in other words, this is what it enables.
So there are two things to this. One is, if you are one of those who books early, you're interested in, of course, not losing money if I end up not traveling, right? But also, if you are somebody who likes to plan their trips at the spur of the moment, if you're a last-minute booker, this thing enables you to go and tap into those bookings that somebody else vacated and they are not able to travel.
What happens on their websites like Hotel Tonight or something, which allow you last minute booking?
Rumor.com and all these things. They do exist. The problem there is exactly what you said. There is a huge amount of mis-selling that happens. You have to be extremely cautious, and a lot of people have been subject to fraud where they went and bought a booking there and it ended up being a fake booking. The hotel simply declined. Those kind of scenarios will not occur when we follow the blockchain model.
Now, in all this, we are assuming that the hotel is going full. But if the hotel is, say, only 50% occupancy, then I can just go to the same hotel normal website or booking.com and just book there, right?
Absolutely. You could do that. So the best part about this is, see, it's not always the same hotel. Sometimes what happens is the hotel that I am going for is full, but there is a hotel right next door, more or less competitive brand, may not be the brand that I have my loyalty points with, but that's empty as well, and I can walk into it and go and utilize that. Now that is where probably we get the POAP thing back into the discussion, that if I have
a digital stamp,
right, and I walk into the other hotel saying, guys, I've been staying in the one next door all this while, I'm a loyal member of theirs. Now if you give me a booking right now, you are actually converting a customer, and you could probably get a discount from the other chain just because you are a valuable customer for them. Those kind of things will also happen, and again, sometimes some of these things sound a little dubious when we think of it in today's context.
Little futuristic as well. Because,
yeah. But the fact is that these evolutions have anyways happened. Like back 20 years back when most of the bookings used to happen through brick and mortar travel agent, nobody thought that we would only book online. Nobody thought
Oh,
that
25 years back, if somebody told you that we'll take a photo of our food and put it up on
put
the
it on
internet,
online, you
but that's
wouldn't
become
believe.
culture, right?
Exactly.
So this space is basically where finance meets technology meets culture, and this is always
Yes.
evolving,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So I mean, our grandmothers didn't go to the bathroom and click photographs, but now this has just become culture because
Correct.
this whole social media culture, selfie culture, this become that, right? So similarly, this is a space where there's a lot of cultural impact as well. Last point before we open it up for a quick Q&A because we're running out of time. One last issue, and everyone has faces at some point, is baggage handling and your bags lost. So typically when you check into the airport with your bags, at the back end, there are different ecosystems, right? There's the airline authorities, there's the insurance company, there's the actual airline, and they all have their own databases and their own ecosystems. And it actually requires that all those databases talk to each other and are properly synchronized to ensure that you get your bag at your destination. And everyone at some point has had that nightmare of their bags getting lost or maybe sent the next day or whatever. So does blockchain technology help mitigate that problem as well, if not completely eradicate it?
It does. And as I said, I said some time back that think of the blockchain as a global database that anybody can read, but only the person authorized can write, right? So that comes in very handy here. So your baggage is checked in typically by the airline staff. So the airline staff is the only one who is going to be able to write to that database. They're going to write that, okay, I checked in baggage number this. They'll probably, of course, have some sort of a serial number on that baggage. And you could probably also attach a photograph. So with NFTs, you can actually upload a photograph to the blockchain. Again, I don't want to go technical, but the photograph is typically uploaded
Just
IPFS.
tell me how I can not lose my bags and how this enables that.
So the entire thing gets tracked on the blockchain. So every time your bag moves from one system to the other, every system posts that transaction on the blockchain. So every system there knows where exactly it's the baggage, and all of them have just one copy. So the challenge why baggage gets lost is because the airline systems has one thing on it on their systems, whereas the airport authority probably thinks something else is happening. If you use the blockchain, all of them are going to have a copy of the same transaction.
Why can't they do this without the blockchain where their systems are just connected? Why can't they have a common
they
system?
could, but think about the level of complexity this would entail, right? There are so many airlines in the world. There are so many local airlines. There are so many airport authorities. There are so many airports that are privately managed. There are so many which are managed by a consortium. So there is just too much variety sitting there. And
then there's insurance companies in case something is lost.
Yeah. So one of the biggest benefits of the blockchain is that you can have systems that do not require a trusted third party. So for example, when I pay you money, we typically rely on the Reserve Bank of India. The blockchain eliminates that need. Similarly, when it comes to travel products, having a blockchain means that you don't need to have a global regulatory authority, which is anyways very, very difficult to achieve. There's no way we can have a global regulatory authority regulating baggage or regulating tickets or regulating hotel rooms. So bringing in the blockchain becomes like a common collaborative mechanism for all of us to trust each other without actually trusting individually. I don't need to trust Rahul. I simply trust the common database, which is the blockchain. And both me and Rahul trust the same database. That's how it works.
Blockchain is just a common database that all these players plug into, and it's difficult to counterfeit or difficult
It's
to...
impossible to counterfeit.
Yeah.
And everybody can read into. Probably there are only complexities in integrations, which is the technological part.
It's a better, newer age technologies compared to what's been there in the last 20, 30, 40 odd years.
Yes.
And it's a better technology, just like email was a better technology compared to the post box. It's 10x better. This can make our lives a lot easier, even though we may not immediately see it, but it may make our life a lot easier in the coming future.
So let me summarize by some of the core advantages that we are talking about. One is the common database that we spoke about. Second is the common identity that we spoke about, having a common wallet. Third is all this giving you the ability to transfer and resell whatever you own. So ownership of assets is a core principle in the Web3 world. So anything that you own, whether it is a house or whether it is an airline ticket, everything can be resold by you. So that's the third advantage. And fourth advantage is traceability. So all these coming together help all these examples that we thought about, which is POAPs, reselling, baggage handling. All of these are applications of these four broad principles.
Frictions that are currently there, even though we
Yes.
may not see it so much, we've just gotten used to it. So a lot of these friction points that are definitely there in travel get
eliminated
to
completely. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So on that note, unfortunately, we are out of time. I mean, him and I have just done a podcast on this. It's my podcast. It's called the Plush Podcast. It's now on YouTube, where and then soon it's picked up by Air India as well for their in-flight entertainment. So that's a big win for us since 2025 has just started. But if that episode should be out in a couple of days, if you just type in Plush Podcasts on YouTube, P for Paris, PLUSH podcast. It's on YouTube. We've got a few other episodes. Sorry, shameless plug. But if you want to deep dive into this subject, we've had a 75-minute conversation on this, and it's very interesting. I try my best to strip away because I'm not a technical guy, so I try and make it as palatable for the average listener and viewer as well.